Picture this. It's 20. A young couple walks into what used to be called a real estate office, but there's no office anymore. No smiling agent with a firm handshake and a leather portfolio. No coffee brewing in the corner. No framed photos of sold homes covering the walls like trophies of trust. Instead, there's a screen. A sleek, minimalist interface that asks them 3 questions. Budget, location, lifestyle. 30 seconds later, the algorithm presents them with their dream home. Virtual tour included. Mortgage pre-approval embedded. Closing date suggested. The entire process that once took months now takes minutes. And somewhere in a quiet suburb, a real estate agent stares at their phone, wondering when the calls stopped coming. This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. Zillow's algorithm processes over 110 million homes in the United States alone. Redfin's AI can predict which houses will sell within days with 91% accuracy. Opendoor bought and sold over 21,000 homes last year without a single traditional agent involved. The machines aren't coming for real estate. They're already here. They've unpacked. They've learned the neighborhood. And they're closing deals while human agents are still scheduling their first showing. But here's what makes this different from every other industry disruption you've heard about. Real estate wasn't supposed to fall. It was built on something machines can't replicate: relationships, trust, the deeply human act of helping a family find not just a house, but a home, a place where children will take their first steps, where anniversaries will be celebrated, where someone will grow old and look back on a life well lived. How do you automate that? How do you code emotion into an algorithm? How do you teach a machine to understand that when someone says they want a 3-bedroom house, what they really mean is they're ready to start a family? The answer is terrifying in its simplicity. You don't need to understand emotion. You just need to predict it. And prediction is what AI does better than any human ever could. Let me show you how deep this goes. In 2019, the National Association of Realtors reported there were approximately 1.4 million licensed real estate agents in America. By 2024, that number dropped to 1.1 million. 300,000 agents gone in 5 years. Not retired, not promoted, gone, erased by efficiency. And the ones who remain, they're fighting for scraps. The average real estate agent today closes 8 transactions per year, down from 12 just a decade ago. Meanwhile, AI-powered platforms are processing millions of transactions with 0 commission, 0 emotion, and 0 hesitation. This is the story of an extinction event happening in slow motion. But it's also the story of what happens when humanity refuses to become obsolete, when we choose to evolve instead of disappear, when we remember that every machine that replaces us also reveals what makes us irreplaceable. Welcome to the end of real estate as you know it, and the beginning of something we haven't named yet. Let's talk about what's actually happening behind the curtain. Because the death of the real estate agent isn't a sudden collapse. It's a systematic dismantling. One feature at a time, one convenience at a time, one algorithm at a time. It started innocently enough. Zillow launched in 2006 with a simple promise: transparency. For the first time in history, you could see what your neighbor's house sold for. You could estimate your own home's value without calling an agent. It felt like empowerment, like democracy, like the internet was finally bringing fairness to an industry that had operated in shadows for too long. And it was. But it was also the first crack in the foundation. Then came the virtual tours. Why drive across town to see a house when you could tour it from your couch? Reasonable, efficient, time-saving. Except now the agent lost their first point of contact. That moment in the driveway where they'd read your body language, where they'd notice you glancing at the neighbor's yard, where they'd ask about your kids and suddenly understand you weren't looking for a house near good schools, you were looking for a house near your aging parents. Next came the automated valuations. Comparative market analysis that once took an experienced agent hours to compile now generated instantly. Pricing suggestions based on millions of data points. Neighborhood trends predicted with machine learning. Interest rate calculations embedded into every listing. The agent's expertise, their years of understanding local markets, their intuition about which streets were up and coming, reduced to a number on a screen. But the real kill shot? The iBuyer model. Companies like Opendoor, OfferPad, and Zillow Offers that will buy your house directly. No staging, no showings, no negotiations. Just an algorithm that analyzes your property or makes an offer and closes in days. For sellers exhausted by the traditional process, it's liberation. For agents, it's extinction. Here's a real number that should terrify anyone in this industry. In 2021, iBuyers purchased over 60,000 homes. That's 60,000 transactions where no traditional agent was involved. No commission split, no relationship built, no human touch. Just code executing a purchase agreement. And while 60,000 might sound small in a market of millions, remember this. Amazon started by selling books. Netflix started by mailing DVDs. Disruption always begins at the edges. By the time you notice it, it's already too late. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about what AI can do that even the best human agent cannot. An algorithm can analyze every home sale in a city for the past 30 years in 3 seconds. It can identify patterns invisible to human perception. It knows that homes on streets with certain tree species sell for 4% more. It knows that houses painted specific shades of blue stay on the market 11 days less. It knows that properties within exactly 0.7 miles of a Whole Foods appreciate faster than those 0.8 miles away. This isn't expertise, this is omniscience. And it's not just buying and selling. AI is now writing property descriptions that convert better than human-written ones. It's generating floor plans from photos. It's predicting which buyers are most likely to make an offer based on their browsing behavior. It's even negotiating. There are platforms now where 2 AIs haggle over price, terms, and closing dates without a single human involved. The negotiation that was once an art form, a psychological dance between 2 experienced agents, is now a mathematical optimization problem solved in milliseconds. I spoke with Marcus Chen, a former top-producing agent in San Francisco who sold luxury properties for 15 years. He told me something I can't forget. I used to think my value was in knowing the market. Then I thought it was in my relationships. Then I thought it was in my negotiation skills. But the truth, the market is now transparent to everyone. My relationships are replaceable with a 5-star rating system, and negotiation is just math. The only thing I have left is being physically present, and even that, virtual reality is coming for. He's right, and he's wrong, because there's something happening beneath all this disruption that the algorithms haven't accounted for. A counter-movement, a resistance. Not against technology, but against the assumption that efficiency is the only value that matters. Because here's what the data doesn't show. The couple who bought their first home through an iBuyer and felt nothing. No celebration, no champagne, no moment of standing in an empty living room and imagining their future. Just a transaction completed, a contract signed, a key received. They got their house. But they didn't get their story, and humans need stories the way they need oxygen. If your job is to input data and output recommendations, you're already gone. If your job is to follow a process that can be mapped, you're already gone. If your job is to be efficient, accurate, and fast, you're already gone. Because machines are more efficient, more accurate, and infinitely faster. But if your job is to understand what someone means when they say they want to be close to family, if your job is to notice when a client's eyes light up in a kitchen even though it's not what they said they wanted, if your job is to hold someone's hand through the scariest financial decision of their life, then you're not competing with AI. You're doing something AI will never do. The question isn't whether AI will replace real estate agents. It already is. The question is, what happens to the ones who refuse to be replaced? What do they become? What do they offer that no algorithm ever could? And that's where this story gets interesting. Let me tell you about the blacksmith. In 1850, there were over 100,000 blacksmiths in America. They were essential. Every town had one. Every farm needed one. They made horseshoes, tools, weapons, hinges, nails. They were craftsmen, artists, the backbone of an agricultural economy. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Factories that could produce 1,000 nails in the time it took a blacksmith to make 10. Steam engines that didn't need horseshoes. Mass production that made custom metalwork obsolete. By 1950, there were fewer than 5,000 blacksmiths left, a 95% extinction rate in 100 years. Today, there are approximately 7,000 blacksmiths in America, more than there were in 1950. Because something strange happened. The profession died. And then it was reborn. Not as a necessity, but as an art form, as a luxury, as something people pay premium prices for precisely because it's not efficient, because it's human, because it's rare. This is the pattern of creative destruction. The economist Joseph Schumpeter described it in 1942. Every technological revolution destroys jobs, but it also creates new ones we couldn't have imagined. The automobile killed the horse and buggy industry and created millions of jobs in manufacturing, road construction, gas stations, motels, fast food, suburbs. The internet destroyed travel agents and created an entire economy of digital marketing, e-commerce, social media management, app development. The real estate agent as we knew them is dying. But something new is being born, and the agents who survive won't be the ones who resist AI. They'll be the ones who dance with it. Let me show you what that looks like. There's an agent in Austin named Sarah Kim. She was a traditional agent for 8 years. Good income, steady clients. Then the algorithms came. Her listings started getting fewer views. Her clients started finding homes on Zillow before she could send them options. Her commissions dropped 30% in 2 years. She had a choice: fight the future or ride it. She chose to ride it. She learned to use AI as her research assistant. She feeds algorithms her clients' preferences and gets instant market analysis. She uses virtual staging AI to show clients what a dated house could become. She employs chatbots to handle initial inquiries so she can focus on the emotional, high-touch moments. She doesn't compete with AI on efficiency. She partners with it, and then she offers what the algorithm never can: vision, imagination, the ability to walk into a house and say, "I know this isn't what you wanted, but trust me. Let me show you something." Her income is now 40% higher than it was before AI, not in spite of the technology. Because of it. Because she stopped trying to be the best human doing what machines do, and started being the best human doing what only humans can. Or consider David Okonkwo in Brooklyn. He realized that in a world of instant information, his value wasn't in knowing which houses were for sale. Everyone knows that now. His value was in knowing which neighborhoods were about to transform, which blocks were getting new schools, which communities were organizing, which streets had the kind of neighbors who'd become your family. Information you can't scrape from a database, knowledge that only comes from living in a place, from being part of it. He repositioned himself, not as a real estate agent, as a neighborhood anthropologist, as a cultural guide. He charges a flat fee, not a commission. He doesn't sell houses, he sells belonging. And his clients pay it gladly because in a world where you can buy a house with 3 clicks, finding a home still requires a human. This is the transformation. The profession isn't ending, it's splitting into 2 paths: the low-touch, high-efficiency path that AI dominates, and the high-touch, high-value path that humans own. The agents who try to stay in the middle, offering moderate service at moderate prices, they're the ones disappearing, because moderate is exactly what algorithms do better than anyone. But here's the beautiful, terrifying truth. This transformation requires something most people don't want to give. It requires you to become more human, not less. It requires vulnerability, creativity, emotional intelligence, the willingness to say, I don't have all the answers, but I'll figure it out with you. The courage to build relationships that might not close for years. The patience to invest in people, not just transactions. The Industrial Revolution didn't kill craftsmanship. It killed mediocre craftsmanship. It killed the blacksmith who made average horseshoes. It elevated the blacksmith who made art. AI won't kill real estate agents. It will kill average real estate agents. It will elevate the ones who offer something no algorithm ever could: wisdom, intuition, care, the ability to see a family's future and help them build it. Every machine replaces a task, but no machine has ever replaced a dream. And that's what the best agents have always sold. Not houses, dreams. The dream of independence, of stability, of legacy, of a place that's yours in a world that often feels like it belongs to someone else. The question isn't whether you'll be replaced. The question is whether you'll evolve, whether you'll stop competing with machines on their terms and start competing on yours, whether you'll remember that in a world of infinite information, wisdom is rare. In a world of instant transactions, relationships are priceless. In a world of algorithms, humanity is the ultimate luxury. This is the path forward, not back to the way things were, but forward into something we're still inventing, where technology handles the mechanics and humans handle the meaning, where AI closes the transaction and agents create the transformation. The real estate agent isn't dying. The real estate agent is being reborn. And the ones who survive will be the ones who remember what they were always supposed to be. Not information brokers, not transaction coordinators, but guides, storytellers, dream builders, the people who help other people find not just a place to live, but a reason to call it home. So, what do you actually do? How do you survive this? How do you become the kind of agent that AI can't replace? Let me give you the playbook. Not theory, not inspiration. Practical steps, the kind of thing you can start tomorrow. Step 1. Audit your job. Sit down with brutal honesty and make 2 lists. On the left, write everything you do that follows a pattern. Searching listings, scheduling showings, sending follow-up emails, comparative market analysis, contract preparation. If it's repetitive, if it's rule-based, if it can be described as a process, write it down. Now look at that list and understand something. Everything on it will be automated within 5 years, maybe sooner. These tasks are not your value, they're your vulnerability. On the right side, write everything you do that's unique to you. The way you read a client's body language and know they're not telling you their real budget. The moment you suggested a neighborhood they'd never considered and it changed their life. The time you talked someone out of buying a house because you knew it wasn't right, even though it cost you a commission. The relationships you've built that go beyond transactions. This list, this is your moat. This is what AI can't cross. And if this list is short, you're in trouble because you've been doing a job that's already obsolete. You just haven't been fired yet. Step 2. Learn to use AI as your research assistant, not your replacement. Stop seeing it as the enemy. It's a tool, the most powerful tool you've ever had. Use AI to analyze market trends so you can spend your time understanding what those trends mean for your specific clients. Use AI to generate property descriptions so you can focus on crafting the narrative that makes someone fall in love with a space. Use AI to handle scheduling, follow-ups, and administrative tasks so you can be present for the moments that matter. The agents who survive won't be the ones who refuse to use AI. They'll be the ones who use it so well that they have more time to be human. Step 3. Specialize in what algorithms can't. Become an expert in something that requires local knowledge, cultural understanding, or emotional intelligence. Maybe you become the agent who specializes in helping families with special needs, children find homes near the right schools, and support services. Maybe you become the agent who understands the immigrant experience and can navigate the complexities of buying a first home in a new country. Maybe you become the agent who specializes in helping people downsize after loss, who understands that selling the family home isn't a transaction, it's grief work. Find the niche where being human is the entire value proposition. Step 4. Build, create, own. Stop being just an agent. Become a creator. Start a YouTube channel where you walk through neighborhoods and tell their stories. Write a newsletter about market trends that's actually interesting to read. Host community events that have nothing to do with selling houses and everything to do with building relationships. Create content that positions you not as someone who has access to information, but as someone who has wisdom about what that information means. In a world where everyone can access the same data, interpretation is the new scarcity. Be the interpreter. Step 5. Charge for your value, not your time. The commission model is dying because it's based on the assumption that your value is in facilitating the transaction. But if AI can facilitate the transaction better, faster, and cheaper, what are you charging for? Start experimenting with new models. Flat fees for consultation, retainers for ongoing advisory services, premium pricing for white glove, high-touch service. Make it clear that you're not selling access to listings. You're selling expertise, guidance, and care, and people will pay for that. They always have. They always will. Let me tell you about Jennifer Martinez in Miami. She saw the writing on the wall 5 years ago. She stopped trying to compete on volume and started competing on value. She now works with only 12 clients per year. 12. But each one pays her a $25,000 retainer for a year of advisory services. She helps them understand the market. She tours properties with them. She negotiates on their behalf. She connects them with architects, designers, contractors. She becomes part of their team, not for a transaction, for a transformation. Her income is higher than when she was closing 40 deals a year, and she works half the hours because she stopped selling houses and started selling herself. Or look at Marcus, the San Francisco agent I mentioned earlier. He didn't quit. He pivoted. He now runs a subscription service for real estate investors, $500 a month. He provides market analysis, deal flow, and most importantly, pattern recognition. He tells them what he's seeing that the algorithms aren't showing. The subtle shifts in neighborhood dynamics, the political changes that will affect zoning, the cultural movements that predict gentrification. He has 200 subscribers. That's $120,000 a year in recurring revenue before he closes a single deal. He's not competing with AI. He's building on top of it. This is the playbook. Audit, adapt, build, own. It's not complicated, but it's hard because it requires you to let go of the identity you've built. To admit that the job you trained for is disappearing. to accept that the future belongs to the ones who reinvent themselves before they're forced to. And here's the thing nobody tells you. This isn't just about survival. It's about becoming the professional you always wanted to be. Because, let's be honest, how much of your job did you actually love? The cold calling, the open houses where nobody showed up, the clients who ghosted you after months of work, the administrative tasks that consumed your weekends? AI is taking all of that and leaving you with the only parts that ever mattered, the human parts, the meaningful parts, the parts where you actually change someone's life. Adaptation isn't just intelligence, it's survival written in human code. It's the thing our species has done better than any other for 200,000 years. We don't resist change, we ride it. We don't fight the future, we build it. And the real estate agents who understand this, who embrace this, who become this, they won't just survive. They'll thrive in ways the old model never allowed. Because here's the secret. AI isn't making your job obsolete. It's making the boring parts obsolete. The parts that were never why you got into this business anyway. It's giving you permission to be what you always should have been. Not a transaction coordinator, but a transformation guide. Not a data provider, but a dream builder. Not a salesperson, but a storyteller. The playbook is simple, the execution is hard, but the reward is a career that actually means something. In a world of algorithms, you become the human exception. The one thing that can't be downloaded, duplicated, or disrupted. You become irreplaceable, not because you're the most efficient, but because you're the most human. And that, more than any commission, more than any sale, more than any market trend, is what will carry you into the future. So here we are, at the end of one story and the beginning of another. The real estate agent as we knew them is dying. That's not a prediction, that's a fact. The algorithms are here, the iBuyers are scaling. The virtual tours are improving, the AI is learning. And every day another transaction happens without a human agent involved. Every day another professional realizes their expertise has been commoditized. Every day the old model becomes a little more obsolete. But here's what the data doesn't capture. Here's what the algorithms can't predict. The human spirit doesn't accept extinction. It never has. We're the species that looked at the sky and decided to fly, that looked at the ocean and decided to cross it, that looked at the moon and decided to walk on it. We don't surrender to inevitability. We rewrite it. The real estate agents who will thrive in this new world aren't the ones with the most listings or the biggest teams or the fanciest technology. They're the ones who remember why this profession existed in the first place. Not to facilitate transactions, but to facilitate dreams, to help a young couple imagine their future, to help a family find stability, to help someone build equity not just in property, but in community. In belonging, in the radical act of putting down roots in an increasingly rootless world. AI can analyze 1 million data points and tell you the optimal house for your budget and preferences. But it can't tell you what it feels like to walk into a space and suddenly see your life there. It can't understand why you're willing to stretch your budget for a house near your childhood neighborhood. It can't recognize that when you say you want a big backyard, what you really mean is you want your kids to have the childhood you didn't. It can't hold your hand when you're terrified of the biggest financial decision of your life and say, "I've got you, we'll figure this out together." That's not a job. That's a calling. And callings don't get automated. They get elevated. I think about the blacksmith again, how the profession died and was reborn, how what was once a necessity became a luxury, how what was once common became rare, and how that rarity created value that didn't exist before. The blacksmith today doesn't make horseshoes for transportation. They make art. They make custom knives that sell for thousands of dollars. They make gates and railings and sculptures that people treasure. They don't compete with factories. They offer something factories never could: humanity, craftsmanship, soul. The real estate agent of the future will be the same, not competing with algorithms on efficiency, but offering something algorithms never could: wisdom, intuition, care, the ability to see not just what a house is, but what it could become, not just what a neighborhood offers, but what a life there would feel like, not just the transaction, but the transformation. This is the choice: extinction or evolution, resistance or reinvention, clinging to the old model or building the new one. And the beautiful, terrifying truth is that the choice is yours. AI doesn't decide your future. You do. The market doesn't decide your value. You do. The algorithms don't determine whether you survive. Your willingness to adapt does. So let me leave you with this: a mantra, a reminder, a code to live by in this new world. Audit, adapt, build, own. Audit your job and know what's vulnerable. Adapt to use AI as your tool, not your replacement. Build something that's uniquely yours. Own your value and charge for it unapologetically. But more than that, remember this: humanity isn't ending, it's just beginning again. Every technological revolution strips away the unnecessary and reveals what's essential. And what's essential, what's always been essential, is connection, is meaning, is the deeply human need to be seen, understood, and guided through the most important moments of our lives. The real estate agent who understands this doesn't fear AI. They welcome it, because every task AI automates is one less distraction from the work that actually matters. Every process AI optimizes is more time to be present. Every transaction AI handles is more energy to invest in transformation. You're not competing with machines. You're competing with mediocrity, with the version of yourself that's been coasting, with the industry that's been comfortable, with the assumption that what worked before will work forever. And in that competition, you have every advantage, because you can change, you can grow, you can become something new. The algorithm can only be what it was programmed to be. But you can be anything you choose. So choose evolution, choose reinvention. Choose to become the agent that AI could never replace, because you're not doing a job that can be coded. You're doing work that can only be felt. You're not processing transactions. You're building dreams. You're not selling houses. You're creating homes. And in a world of infinite information and instant gratification, that's the rarest, most valuable thing you can offer. The death of the real estate agent isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a profession that's more human, more meaningful, more essential than it's ever been. Because in a world run by algorithms, humanity isn't a weakness, it's the ultimate competitive advantage. Welcome to the future. It's terrifying, it's exhilarating, it's yours to build. And if you're brave enough to let go of what was and embrace what could be, you won't just survive this transformation. You'll lead it, audit, adapt, build, own. Humanity isn't ending, it's just beginning again.